How to get motivated sellers choosing you every single time, where you're no longer proving yourself and showcasing what makes you different. How's it going, real estate family? My name is Wandile. I've worked with hundreds of different real estate agents, helping them automate their lead generation process by utilizing AI automation, as well as getting them quality appointments. So today's video, what I'm really going to just dive straight into is how to essentially just get motivated sellers choosing you every single time, how to stand out, how to be different, so that you essentially get the exclusive listing before you even see the seller in person, or you've essentially crafted or structured your system or your way of attracting sellers to you, that they know, like, and trust you before you even engage with them or before you even see them in person. Okay, so let's dive straight into it. So first things first is that you're going to need to craft a system around discovery. So what do I mean by that? Well, you need a system where sellers can discover you, because 10 times out of 10, many agents, and this is what I see they do, is they go and chase after leads. They go chase after sellers. And don't get me wrong, it works, right? I mean, you still see people getting results. But the problem is, when you're chasing, you're always viewed as a salesman. But when people come to you, you're viewed as the expert. Hence why referral leads are a lot easier to deal with, because they trusted that source who recommended you to them, if that makes sense. So you're going to need to craft a system around, how can I get more sellers to discover me instead of me having to go and reach out to them. And what I always like to suggest is that you want to start crafting ads through social media, because that's one of the best ways to get sellers to discover you. Okay, there's other different ways, but we've tried and tested it, and I do it for all of my clients, is we essentially run ads that get sellers' attention. Okay, and the best way to do that is to craft a lead generation ad which is more focused on getting their attention or creating curiosity in your ad, that's going to get a seller to raise their hand and say, hey, look, I would like what you're offering, because I'm either thinking of selling or I'm ready to move forward within the selling process. So therefore, you have a system around getting them to discover you. And that's why I love social media advertising, because it essentially helps you get discovered by your potential market, and not just by one or two or three sellers. Thousands and thousands and thousands of sellers are discovering you every single day because they see your ad. But here's the thing, right? Having a great ad is one thing, okay, and maybe they'll take a look at your ad, but 9 times out of 10, this is where you need to have a profile funneling strategy in place for inducing rabbit holes. So what I mean by profile funneling for inducing rabbit holes is that when you've crafted your ad, okay, let's say you're running an ad to attract sellers who are looking for a free valuation report or a CMA report, right, on comparative market analysis. Now, 9 times out of 10, they're going to see your ad, and if it interests them, for them, what they now want to do is they want to verify you. They want to know a little bit more about you, because as humans, we're curious. We always want to spy and see what you're all about. So what are they going to do? They're going to click on your profile once they see your ad on their newsfeed, and they want to now check out your profile and see what you're all about. Now, if you just have a profile that is boring, that just has lots of listings, and you just look like every other agent, you're not different, okay? So the issue around that is, because you're not different, you're not evoking them to actually go through your profile and just go through this rabbit hole of looking at your content. Okay, they look at your profile, they're like, they're just like every other agent, and then they move forward with their life. However, if they click on your profile after they see your ad, and you funneled your profile in a way where you've got such amazing content, okay, that gets them hooked, that gets them to literally watch video after video after video after video after video, you've now successfully funneled your profile to induce a rabbit hole on your profile. So for example, if I see your ad, okay, and I click on your profile to go check you out, right, do my due diligence or just do my research on you, and then I'm just watching video after video after video after video, next thing I realize I've spent about 30 minutes, 1 hour just watching your videos or looking at your profile and like learning a little bit more about you and a little bit more about your expertise. That was me now successfully being gone through a rabbit hole, right? Because I watched one video and the next minute I lost track of time, and I've watched like tons of different videos that I saw on your profile, which allowed me to really get an idea in terms of who you are. So that's what I mean by profile funneling for inducing rabbit holes. You want to create a profile so that it essentially gets your audience or your leads to go through this massive rabbit hole where they're just looking at your content and learning more about your strategies and what you do. You need that now. It's all about that now. If your profile is not created to get those rabbit holes or to get your leads through a rabbit hole, it's going to be very difficult for you to stand out and to get them to choose you. Now, what type of content should you be creating, right? That's going to go take them through this entire rabbit hole. Well, you need pain-driven solutions and not just listings. I see many agents just post listings on their profiles, and it's flipping boring, guys. Stop doing that. No. It's not the best way for you to stand out because everyone else is doing that as well. So what I always like to say is that you want to engage in a conversation that's happening in your seller's mind. What is your seller thinking about on a day-to-day basis? Someone who's thinking of selling and someone who's ready to sell, or someone who already has their home on the market but it hasn't sold yet. Those are the questions you need to be asking yourself. And then what you want to do is that you want to create content answering those questions. So if a seller has had their house in the market for months and it hasn't sold, one question they have right now is, why isn't my house selling? Then you want to create content. You want to create a video of you explaining why that is the case. Okay, if you have a seller who's thinking of selling but is maybe afraid of the interest rate, then you want to create a video on that. Okay, if you have a seller who's ready to sell but they're not sure which agent to pick, then you want to create a video on what type of agent should the seller select or pick if they're looking to sell their house right now, or if they're ready to sell their house right now. Can you see how I'm looking at pain-driven solutions? Because they're currently in pain right now, thinking about all those things, and they don't have a solution yet. But when they go on your profile, all right, and they see those videos, they see those pain-driven solutions through your content, that's how you induce rabbit holes. Okay, now the beauty around this whole thing is because profile funneling essentially provides a great way for you to get people to consume your content. And my mentor once told me that, Wandile, it's all about the law of consumption when it comes to social media. And what he was saying is that you want to get people to at least watch anywhere between 2 to 7 hours of content, because once they go through that entire hours of content of watching you, that's how you are, one, creating more aha moments for those sellers who are either in research mode or sellers who were thinking about selling but they weren't sure if now's the right time. You're now going to start turning those warm leads into super hot leads because you've provided them with education. Now they're ready to take the next step. And you're then also going to take those who are ready to sell right now, okay, to contact you, to reach out to you, to DM you, to then opt into your ad, for example, maybe through a discovery, okay? And by the time you engage with them, they're like, look, you don't need to say anything. I just want to sell. Or they'll reach out to you via DMs and say, hey, look, I'm looking to sell, or hey, I'm ready to sell. What's the next step of the process? Or would you be comfortable to list my home, for example? I've had many of my clients tell me how amazing it was to get sellers to literally reach out to them personally and ask them if the agent, is ready and willing to list their house. They're asking my clients for permission to list their house. That is unheard of in this industry, because what is the norm? You're chasing and you're asking and you're begging and you're pleading and you're trying to find ways to get them to list with you. But this way, it's the other way around. And how that is the case is because when you've got enough content on your profile, the law of consumption automatically builds trust and perceptions of expertise, because they're going through this rabbit hole of watching your content. And while they're watching your content, you're essentially providing all the solutions that they need to make and see why you are the best person that they need to work with, so that you don't need to prove yourself and you don't need to showcase what makes you different, because they've already consumed your content. So the law of consumption is all about getting them to consume at least 2 to 7 hours of your content where you build trust and expertise. Okay. Now, this will only happen, okay, if you have enough content. If you have just 1 or 2 videos and you're not consistent, then that's not going to happen. So I'm happy to create a video in terms of how often to post and what to post, and the duration of your content. So maybe put down in the comment section if that's what you want, or reach out to me via DM and I'll create the video. And then lastly, you need to have omnipresent. You need to be omnipresent, which is going to focus on the top of mind presence. I think my English was a bit off there, but Essentially, you just need to be omnipresent for top of mind. And what I mean by that is when you're running ads and you're running ads consistently, okay, you automatically have presence, okay? But the problem is you only have presence from an ad perspective. But now, when you're running ads and you're creating amazing and great content consistently at the same time, which is going to get your sellers to follow you, and you also at the same time updating your stories, now what's happening? You are omnipresent, because not only when they go on their social media they see your ads, but then they also follow you. So whenever you're posting new content, that automatically pops up in their newsfeed. And then on top of that, they looking at your stories, right? So let's say you're posting stories on your day to day, right? Or you're providing advice in your stories as well. Now you're omnipresent, because whenever they log on, they see your ad, or they see your video post because they follow you, or they're watching your stories because you're consistently updating your stories. So when you're omnipresent, right, through, let's say, two channels, Facebook and Instagram, that is the best way for you to stay top of mind. And what happens is that when you stay top of mind, guess what happens? You're consistently having a system around discovery, so they're discovering you, okay? You now, again, have the profile funneling to consistently induce rabbit holes. And on top of that, because they're going through your profile, because they love the content that you have, mainly because it's pain-driven content and not just listings. Now you're getting them to consume your content, which is going to build trust and perception of expertise, which means that they're going to reach out to you because they're either ready to sell, they have one or two more quick questions before they list with you. And that is essentially how you don't have to prove yourself anymore and showcase what makes you different, because you already have a system around what makes you different, and now they come to you. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. Depending on where you're seeing this, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.